Teenage Anakin needs to lay off those death sticks.
Savage. That is your intro?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
He's straight up doing drugs, dude.
Yeah. He does not look that young. You're going to try this. Well, probably not. Do you want to try It's pretty good. This is cherry limeade. 20 calories. Not a sponsor.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Kenobi-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew, and Jeremiah is more like a Vader.
You cut me off. Come on.
Episode.
And we are back with another episode of Kenobi Part 5.
Correct.
Still no titles. Kind of mad about that. Wish we had a title for this one. Like, what do you think they would name this episode?
Vader.
The Rage of Vader.
The betrayal of the third sister.
I don't know. I actually kind of like her character and story a lot more now because of this episode.
Yeah.
Like,
it kind of put me in a loop a little bit.
Like,
yeah. Well,
we might as well jump right into it. But
what does all those haters say now?
Well, first of all the haters that are like mad about, oh, Disney, they broke canon with the Grand Inquisitor, blah. Like, calm down, people.
Chill. We all knew that he wasn't dead.
And if he was dead, they just have a new guy of the same species. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. People just blatantly thinking they're destroying canon, just making, like, whatever. So it's kind of funny. I'm happy that he just walked in like a GI.
Yep. He was in the background. I was like, oh my. Well, he's not dead. Called it.
All right. But
and also that droid is a droid, not someone inside of him. Called that too.
That's not confirmed. They didn't look inside.
Okay, come on.
Wrecker might be obliterated into a million pieces, but yes, Drew. Might as well. What is your overall thoughts of this episode?
Overall, my least favorite. No, I'm just kidding. It was the best episode so far.
Yeah,
hands down. So good. The whole flashback stuff was amazing. Besides the fact that they should have CGI'd his face a little bit. But...
we should just talk about that just to get it out of the way. But
because that's like my only complaint in this episode is that
because
it's like the only thing for me that kind of took me out of it a little bit.
They literally made no effort to de-age him, and so
they just put makeup on him.
Well, that's just because
that's what I mean. Like they didn't do anything.
But yeah, it's just his regular old face, and so like it took me out of it because every single time, like it was kind of distracting for me just because
Obi-Wan looked younger than he did.
He looked great, like
yeah,
because I guess they could, but like so I've heard I was listening to two. Like explanations.
I guess
of
you
their
had
options.
All day, huh?
Yep. So all day. So, the two options that Disney could have went with was the one that they went with, which was just leave him as is, or de-age him in some way. But I heard the argument that if they were to de-age him, it would take away from Hayden Christensen's performance because his performance wouldn't come through because if they're altering his face, it's not going to look true to his acting and his mannerisms and his expressions. It would look more fake. It would be more computer animated face rather than an actual performance. And I think that, his facial performance, like when he smiles and stuff, like in that one part of the flashback, it looked like him from episode 2 and him smiling, hanging out with his girl Padme. Like I could see episode 2 Anakin in his expressions and performance
Yeah.
So like I get that. So it's I don't know. I don't know if I would rather have
I get both sides of it.
Like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have what we have now? We get the full like expressions and acting from Hayden, or would you rather have a de-aged one where we're going to be missing out on his expressions, true expressions?
It's hard to say because the thing is, I agree with that, but then my only thing is the way they did Luke and Boba Fett show was so well done that I feel like they still could have figured it out a little bit.
Possibly. The thing though with the Luke and Boba Fett was he didn't have to do any big facial expressions, and a lot of times when he was talking, the camera wasn't on him.
Yeah.
So like,
I think they should have just put up the money up front and have them do some plastic surgery, and then we could
oh
have just
gosh,
met
no,
in the middle a little bit, like they
no.
paid for
That
it.
I think what they should have done was they should have made his voice higher pitched, because his voice
Yeah.
now at 41 years old is like super different than when he was 20
Dude,
years old.
I don't want to hate, but he looks 40. Like
No, he looks way older than 40.
yeah, he did
He's
not age
41. I
well.
looked up today. He's 41.
And he
Like
looks 50.
he look like he's 50. So I don't know that farming in Canada, might not be the best for your face out there, but
Is he farming?
that's what he did for a long time. Like he had a farm in Canada, and this was just working on
Well,
his
I mean,
farm.
that makes sense actually. I'm not gonna hate anymore because any farmer I ever met, they look like 10 years older than they are. So
Right.
it makes sense. Okay. I'm not gonna hate
It
anymore.
looks like he's been living on Tatooine for a while.
Yeah, he has some
but
skin issues, but
yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna just accept what they have.
I mean, like I
But
said, it's the only thing that takes me out of it a little bit.
because I did look at episode, because so we should say that this flashback takes place before episode 2,
Yep,
because he has both his real hands.
correct.
So like we have to understand that. And so like I looked at episode 2 as like a clip of it today, and it's like it's so different. Like it's not even like, honestly, like episode 3 Anakin looks way more like him now.
Yeah, I don't know why they went with this timeline.
Well, I think it's just,
Like, why wouldn't they like create the same scene, but like in between, like before Order 66 or something?
well, I think it's because they wanted to show Anakin's issues of needing to prove himself and always needing to win, and how, because so if you I went back, so we were talking about this in the Discord, blah blah blah, and we kind of were wondering like what the flashbacks were, like whose perspective it was.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back, and every single time there's a flashback between Anakin and Obi-Wan, it's always back to back with a scene with Vader. So it's almost like Vader is thinking about
The same spot.
that sparring match and what Obi-Wan said to him about how you always have to, win and prove yourself, like
Yep.
it's blinding you. And like I think these flashbacks are from Vader's perspective, where he's pondering his past.
I think it's both. I still honestly I still think they're like communicating through the Force together.
Why?
Because we had the same flashback. It was like Kenobi, and then it went to that flashback, and then it was Vader, and it went to the same flashback. So it like seems like they're telling a
Well,
story together.
but every single flashback is next to a scene with Vader, but not all of them are with Obi-Wan. So I think they're all supposed to be from Vader's perspective or memory, because Vader, he's a lot of those scenes, he's just standing there thinking when we see him doing, and then there's the flashback. But with Obi-Wan, he's too busy to be doing. He's like trying to save people's lives. He's trying to get people safe. Like he's doing all that. Just I don't think he has time to
I
think
still
about
think
things.
he was thinking about that though.
Okay, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree.
I mean, it makes sense that he was thinking about because he was like sitting there frozen, and then went to that scene.
Well, I have to go back and look at all 5 because there's 5 flashbacks to the sparring match.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them are back to back with. Or so okay. Sometimes it precedes the scene with Vader. Sometimes it's after the scene with Vader.
Yeah.
But I think 3 out of the 5, it's the scene and then Vader, and that's the first one that we see. It is when we first see the opening scene, and then it jumps right to Vader. So, and then I know the second one it jumps. This is the scene, then jumps to Vader, and I forget how the last 3 go, what order, but because I think it's Anakin. He's like, we know that he is deep down conflicted, and so whereas Obi-Wan, he already knows. He's kind of has his mind made up about his interpretation.
You think Vader is still like pondering to be good?
It's always been like that. He's always had good in him. Padme says there's still good in him.
Yeah.
So Anakin is just trapped in a suit. He's trapped by the dark side, and he's controlled by Palpatine, and like I said, he's just in that spiral down into darkness that he can't get out of.
Yeah.
And it's not until his attachment to Luke where he can rise above the hate and choose to love and embrace the light again. So, like, because like I was, we were all wondering, what the
okay. So real quick, this is why I think they're communicating together, because it was like Obi-Wan's face, and I think this is like the second one or maybe the third flashback. It's like Obi-Wan's face, and he's thinking deeply into the Force, and then goes to Vader's face, and then it goes to the flashback.
I don't know. I
That's why I think I literally think that they're.
But I just don't see any like them.
And then right
meditating.
after that, it goes.
But they're not like meditating. They're not like, I don't know. I just don't think that you can commune with someone while you're doing other things. Like, it's something you'd have to focus on. Like, Obi-Wan would have to meditate while Vader is standing still or meditating himself. Like, because that's what we see with like Ahsoka in Vader in Rebels. When she's meditating, she seems to communicate with Anakin / Vader, but she's in meditation. So like,
and then the fourth flashback, it's just Kenobi thinking, and then it comes back to Kenobi after the flashback too.
You sure? Because I tallied every single flashback.
Yeah, because it goes Kenobi gets arrested and walks through the door, and then it's a flashback.
But then after that is Vader again.
After that is Kenobi in the room.
Okay, whatever.
No. After that is Vader walking his feet. But I don't. But you that would just be counteracting yourself.
No, I'm not saying. Never mind. We're going on too long. You're missing my point. But anyway, Anakin looks old and doing death stick, like he's doing death sticks his whole life when he's when he's 19.
Yeah.
But
when it comes to that bar, maybe that's his dealer.
Possibly. Possibly. You heard it here first, folks.
There it is.
But yes. And so after the first flashback, it goes to Vader on the bridge of whatever ship he's on, and Third Sister comes in and says that the trackers working. They're headed to Jabim, and this is where Vader grants her the rank of Grand Inquisitor, which I'm surprised that it happened before they actually caught him. Like, I thought that, okay, if they caught him,
Yeah, that's true.
then like he would have granted it. Like, okay, you actually did it.
I thought that too. I'm like, well, you haven't caught a hurt him yet, so
right. So
Vader,
it was
you're
kind
jumping
of
the gun a little bit.
so like we know that.
In hindsight, I think I understand it, but
Well, it's like because he already knows that she's trying to betray him.
yeah,
He knows that she was a youngling that he stabbed. So like this whole thing of her becoming Grand Inquisitor was just part of Vader's plan, like this whole time. So like it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, but in the moment I was like, this doesn't make sense. But that's why you gotta trust the writing, because they don't kill the Grand Inquisitor and break canon. So like they know what they're doing. So
well, and that's what there's so many people throughout the series that, in hindsight, after this episode, is like, okay, I'm sorry, because like there's multiple things that people are like, Vader's too weak, Kenobi's too weak. Like so many people are
okay,
like,
first of all, it makes sense why Obi-Wan Kenobi's weak.
correct.
But like, why do people think Vader's weak?
Well,
I don't.
people are still mad that Kenobi escaped from the fire. Like when Kenobi was getting burned in episode 3, right? 3 or 2? 3. Like people are still mad that Kenobi was able to escape because like why would that one flame wall thing make Vader not want to walk through it? Like that doesn't make any sense. And I agree with that.
Well, I would say a lot of people were saying though that Vader lost to Obi-Wan, and he wants a rematch with Obi-Wan where he's at his strongest, and so he doesn't actually want to like go all out against Obi-Wan unless he can.
He wants to suffer. He wants to make Obi-Wan suffer, and he's okay with, like, maybe he's not okay with chasing him down, but he's not gonna. He doesn't want to break him right away. He wants to actually fight him.
Right. So it's like he doesn't want to just kill him or capture him right away because he wants an actual fight. He wants an actual rematch. And so, like, I still think that even like Vader knew that he was going to have a rematch, or he knew that this wasn't going to be the last time he saw him. Like, he knew that they were going to catch him.
The
so,
chat's
like,
saying, I think Vader's playing with his food.
Well, there's that too. But I don't know. I think people just need to. Okay, if you're gonna complain about Vader's too weak in this show, then he's way too weak in A New Hope. Like,
well,
like
not the fan cut.
All right, but that's the
That's the one
weakest
that's
he's
real.
ever been. Like
Well,
in
I
A New
mean,
Hope.
and
like
and Vader acknowledges that. So
what? What do you mean?
Well, he said last time we fought, I was
No, when he left him, he was the learner and he was the master. That's not when the last time they fought. So I think that's still referenced. So that people think that when he left him and the last time they fought were the same thing, but it's not. When you look at tech from a certain point of view.
Because
he's
that's
just
what
saying,
most people are saying. Like Obi-Wan has to be really good the next fight, or that breaks canon.
No, it says he says that when I left you, I was the learner and you were the master, because at that point, and Anakin wasn't a master yet.
Yeah,
he was just a Jedi Knight, and so he was still learning and trying to gain to the next level of being a master. So he was still a learner where Obi-Wan was the master. That's when they left, and so people just need to
chill,
be a little more critical thinking, and deep dive on
and trust
in the
that
Force.
this is not the same people that made the Boba Fett show.
It is like the same people.
Shush. Well,
Kathleen
Jeremiah,
Kennedy. Both
God.
shows.
Jeremiah, what is your overall thoughts of this episode, though?
I think it's the best episode so far.
Okay.
10 out of 10. So, but I'm giving except for episode 2, I've given every episode 10 out of 10. But this is still like a 10 plus. This is still.
Yeah, this was This one, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like all of them are like 10 out of 10. I still like the second episode too, more than you. But this one is like a 10 plus. Like this one is above the other ones for sure.
Right.
And I really did like this. So far this series is still good. Am I mad that next week is the last week? Yeah, because I feel like we just started the show.
People are still hoping they're gonna be a secret episode. Maybe
as in 3. Like, what if they just keep going?
I don't know, because like, originally they said it was the last episode was going to be on the 29th, but like they put 2 episodes that first week. But maybe there's actually a secret 7th episode, and they were planning 2 episodes that first week the whole time. I don't know. I think it'd be cool if they did that. Yeah. Probably won't, because I think based on where the story's going, it's going to be easy to.
Well, I'm just
wrap it up next week. Yeah, but
we've only got one episode that's over 50 minutes, though.
That's fine. What, you want an hour and a half? You want like Stranger Things? You got spoiled by Stranger Things season 4? Hour and 15-minute episodes, hour and a half episode.
Yeah.
Well, until the Duffer Brothers take over a show, that's not going to happen.
To you in the chat, it's like, wait, next week is the last episode? Yep. As of now. That we know of.
But there's still rumors. We're hoping those rumors are true, but
Kenobi did say 7, 8, 9. So.
Yep. But anyway, so they arrive on Jabeam, and it's like a trash planet. Like,
sure.
Okay.
Like, that's it reminds me of the, what's it called?
Baraka.
Yep.
Remind me of that too. This one seems more
trashy,
like,
not
more trashy, more like maybe
Baraka is like the recycle one, and then this one's like the legit trash planet.
Right, maybe because this one seemed like it was very like trash has been there for 100 years and no one's been there. Like it's beyond, it's too full. It's beyond like
that's
livable.
Beyond replayer.
Because it seemed like it was very dirty and dusty beyond like what Baraka is. Baraka is like you can see clearly. It's just like the Star Destroyers and things like it's you can actually see stuff. This would seem like it was more murky, more foggy, dirty. Like it hasn't been touched in a long time. So that's a great place to hide. Like, it's cool they had that underground. Like we knew that there like we saw them like underground, but like, I didn't know it was like a system of like hallways and like had like because I thought it was just open air, like it was just like a hole in the ground. But this is like they have like a I don't know, a lid, not a lid,
hatch,
a hatch or something, whatever you want to call it, on the top to hide. So I thought that was cool. I like the environment.
But the planet was pretty cool.
Yeah. But they get back and everyone there's like a lot more people there than
it was like a full Rebel Alliance right there. Like I was like,
and most of them were all just on the path trying to hide.
Yeah. Did you see that girl was there with her kid?
Oh, from episode 2?
Yeah. The guy scammed. Yeah, she was like in the corners.
But it makes sense. But yes, but the crowd was all. I really liked how they were all hoping that they got this girl back.
Yes.
Like even though they don't know she's because they're all force sensitive. It's like these kids are all force sensitive and they're all like trying to like protect force sensitive people. But, like they didn't know that Leia is force sensitive, just that the Empire took her. So like they have that connection where it's like a child was taken, like they care about that. But they're all eager to see the rescue be fruitful. The one thing that they should have had a moment where they acknowledge the other pilot's death, Wade.
I thought they were going to because like they all walked out and then Wade didn't walk out too. So I thought that was gonna be like
it could have been another 10 seconds of just people like reacting. Like I thought that would have been something they could have added.
They could have just been like sad that Wade was no longer with them.
Right. But Haja was there to greet Obi-Wan. Like I thought that was cool. Like Yeah, he's just a whatever character. Like, I don't really care about him, but
after what he did in this episode, I'm okay with him dying at
what
any
did he do?
point
He
now.
just stood there underneath while Leia was
Uh,
fixing the thing.
he was
And then he dropped the communicator thing, and so
like a
now
slacker. That's what I mean. Like, let's just get rid of this dude. He can't even hold things. One, he scams people, and then he's not even good at keeping things in his pocket.
okay. Oh, here's the thing. He scams people for a good reason. Okay.
His first thing was like, "Well, I feel like there's some business that I could do here now." That was the
Yeah.
thing. Empire. Yeah,
I'm just saying,
chill, dude.
no one's getting hurt. People are being helped. It's okay.
Except they're all being lied to.
They're not being lied to. They're going to safe passage. That's all he promises. That's all.
He lies that he's a Jedi.
Yeah, but
that's a lie.
That's whatever. It's fine.
Okay, well,
but yes. So then they
he has Butterfingers. Yeah, I guess.
All right.
And I can draft him in the NFL.
Anyway, Roken is like tells Obi-Wan, so we use like some trading route that's like no longer used or whatever, but like now that they're exposed, like they have to leave, and so they're like, we gotta be like, what do they call it? We're gonna dust off, which is like a weird, like not take off but dust off. Like I don't know, like it's just weird. Have we heard that in Star Wars? Dust off? I don't know, but
works.
It works. But yeah, so they want to evacuate. And so, but Lola, you know, she had the tracker on her, and we found out that it was a restraining bolt was put on her. So I don't know if the restraining bolt is also the tracker or if there's also a tracker in it. Because
I think both. Because the extreme bolt, obviously, you can make them do certain things. And it's also a tracker because remember in A New Hope, the first half that you think is trash, R2 has a restraining bolt on him, and that's why they're able to. Wait, no, he took it off, and that's why he was able to leave. When he got his restraining bolt removed, that's when he was able to escape from Luke.
Right, but it wasn't a tracker though, was it?
Well, I think if he had it on, they probably would be able to track him with it.
I don't know.
Chat, help me out. Does restraining bolts track?
Well, either way,
Jericho, I'm looking at you.
I think they're implying that the restraining bolt is a tracker, but I guess I didn't think that the tracker would mean that Lola was turned evil, like under its thoughts, like because I didn't think that that's what Lola was going to do, was going to like sabotage anything. Because I just thought it was a tracker. So, but yes, Lola escapes, or not escapes, but leaves Leia's jacket and then cuts some wires and then closes the hatch over the top, and so now they're all stuck inside. Which, okay, they're stuck inside, like they can't escape. So, all right, like all right, this is how this is a story. They're all trapped. That's just what I figured. But after this, Obi-Wan goes to a wall and sees all kinds of inscriptions and writings and stuff from Jedi that passed through. So I know probably in the next day, tomorrow, there's going to be breakdowns.
It's probably out now.
Everything translated off that wall. I see if there's any names or anything. But the one thing that he read out loud was, "The light will fade, but is never forgotten." So, like,
Makes sense.
I think that's kind of a message that's for both Obi-Wan and Vader, because I think that's they both in this at that moment in their history need to remind themselves of that, especially for Vader / Anakin, because the light faded in Anakin, but it was never forgotten. He always had that pull back to the light and struggled with that. But Obi-Wan, he needs to remember that he needs to remember the ways of the Force and the good that the light can bring. And so we've seen that every episode of him, say from episode 2 on, him remembering how to use the Force and being more comfortable with it, having it flow more and more, and we saw that the most in this episode. But yeah, so I definitely want to see the translation of all the stuff on the wall. But there's that, and then he looks over, and then there's a box full of sabers and another box full of Jedi robes. And so, and I'm sure someone will look up to see what, if any of those sabers are from anyone we know. But,
definitely.
But yeah,
there's but also like it was probably, like what?
There's probably like 10 or 12 sabers in that box.
Yeah. So was it implying that they like get rid of them so that they can hide better?
I think so.
It's not that they're fallen Jedis.
Right. I just think that they went into the path to go into hiding, and they just
got rid of what they
left.
had.
Because what does Rokin say when they tell them to like pack up? Take everything, or leave everything you don't need. And so if they're Jedi going into hiding, they don't need their robe and they don't need their saber, so they can just leave it behind.
I'm curious why Obi-Wan picked up that one saber.
I don't know. I figured it was because he recognized it from someone.
Yeah, I wonder if it's.
But maybe he just wanted to like touch a lightsaber and I don't know, just reminisce on the good old days. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I like that scene because it kind of just made him realize that there's still hope in the galaxy because there's still Jedi out there, going about. Even though they've given up on the Jedi lifestyle, like for him, it seemed like it was a hopeful moment that you don't have to give up. You don't have to like he doesn't have to give up because other people have continued on with their lives. But it was just a quick scene. I liked it. And so then after this, we get the second flashback to the sparring. And this is where Obi-Wan accuses Anakin of being too aggressive in his fighting. And Anakin's like, you can't defeat your enemy by showing mercy or something. And so, like, this whole like sparring match, it seemed like Anakin was more powerful here than he was in actual episode 2 when he fought Dooku. Now I understand Dooku is supposed to be like one of the best saber duelists ever in the Jedi's history, and he's a Sith Lord, and Anakin is just a Padawan. But I don't know. Maybe if Anakin needs a little bit more of his aggressive style, maybe.
Well, I think that's supposed to calm him, like this training. But then it shows, in my mind, it shows that he was already being aggressive, and then come episode 2, he was really aggressive, and it cost him his arm.
Right. Like
so, like it's showing that
take him myself. No, Anakin, no. Right.
It's showing that he was still immature when it came to fighting at this point in time.
Right. That's a good point. And so after this, goes back to Jabim, and Obi-Wan gives like a speech to everyone, like, we're locked in here. The Empire has arrived. Like, we can't fight them. They're better trained than us. They have more resources. There's more of them. But if we can,
because they're locked up. Well, actually, right after that goes to Vader, and then they launch the ships.
Right. But he's like, we just have to hold them off until we get this door open. Once we get the door open, the hatch open, then we're going to be free. And so they just start locking all the doors and getting ready for a fight. They're just kind of defending themselves. But then 2 transports arrive, and there's a lot more troopers on those 2 transports than I thought were going to be on there. There was a lot. There's probably, 50 stormtroopers or something, plus 2 purge troopers. Oh, dang.
And they look clean. Their outfits look so good.
Oh, yeah.
And they had, like, the big gun, but, like, the stormtroopers didn't look rugged or anything. Like, they look like they're fresh off the press. They just got their suits. They've never put them on before.
Now, do you think Lucasfilm hired enough stormtroopers this time, or do you think they're like, oh crap, we need to hire the 501st again?
No, this is. I don't think this is 501st. I think this is
So you think all of them were practical? Because there's the one scene where they're all lined up and it's like a bird's eye view from behind. I think that was CG. Just because obviously when you're in the volume, you can't be that high up and whatnot. So I think
are they in the volume in this episode?
the whole show is filmed in a volume.
So I didn't know this show was filmed in the volume too.
Well, yeah, because Andor is the first Star Wars show that wasn't filmed in the volume. So I think because they're so high up, looking at the whole group, all those stormtroopers are CG. But other than that, there's probably like 50 people all in trooper uniforms.
If it was CG, it looked way better than any CG we saw in episode 2. I'll tell you that.
Well, from that high up, you don't need to be the best CG for that. It's just they're just standing still, like pretty easy to do. But I know that from there's so many stormtroopers that we're gonna, and a couple months we're gonna get a thing. Oh, this actor and this actress were all, wearing. They're all.
You see the fat one on the right? That's John Favreau.
Oh gosh. But yeah, so I always think it's cool when there's like the celebrity cameos.
I also the one thing I do like about these younglings or these force sensitive characters and stuff and their family is that they're not just all like people. Like there's a lot of alien species within this too, which I thought was really cool.
Was there like a family of Trandoshans? Was that what they were, Trandos? Like I don't, I couldn't tell. It was really quick, so I couldn't tell if they're the same exact species, not. But
no, there was. I paused on it too. That's what made me think about it.
Yeah, because there's that family. Then there was like, I don't know, that weird like, I don't know. I can't even tell you what like that thing with like a gorilla looking thing with like a long beard or something. I don't know. I can't even just picture. I can't explain what it is. But saw one of those.
Like the kind of white one from Rogue One kind of thing.
I don't know. I have to go look back, but yeah. So there's tons of them down there. So after the troopers arrive, then the new Grand Inquisitor, the third sister Reva, she arrives. And they're trying to fix the hatch to get out, but Roken can't do it. And then Leia's like, "Get me a ladder." She's like, "I'll do it." So I thought that was just great. She just took the initiative. Yeah. She's gonna do it, and then I really liked how Obi-Wan was like, "If you trust me, then trust her," because like I trust her. So
she was like, cool. I was like, not mad at that at all. There's already people like saying like, why would she know how to do stuff like that? I guess, but it's like,
okay, well, but Roken told her what to do because she's like, you have to find the red wire.
Yeah. Well, and then also like she's handy because
she's Anakin's daughter.
Yeah, Anakin was just like at her age, 9. Anakin was building C-3PO, so it's like,
right. So, and
she can figure it out.
I guarantee you, when she was locked in her room, she
took apart
hot-wired some stuff at the door to get out. Like
that, yeah, or she completely rebuilt Lola from the ground up because she knew exactly. Well, you're sustainable, and she went in there and took it out. Like
plus Lola probably kind of helped her. Hey, this is what I accidentally did. Here's the cord. So
either way, she's a lot smarter than the average 9-year-old. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and if you're 9 years old and you're listening, don't be offended.
I was gonna say get smarter.
You're probably smarter than us now than we were when we were 9. So
are 9-year-olds 5th graders?
That's 3rd graders. You turn 9 in 3rd grade, and she's 10 now, so she'd be in 4th or 5th grade depending when her birthday is.
So she's definitely smarter than us because I'm not smarter than a 5th grader. I'll tell you that.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. But when Leia goes up there, Obi-Wan tells Haja, "You watch after her." And he's like, "I'm not a babysitter." But Obi-Wan's like, "I don't care." But then his communicator thing went off. Like, oh shoot, like Bail's calling. Like, what's going on, type of thing. And so it wasn't like a phone call or video call like it was before. It was just like a message.
I think he missed the call and he left a message.
Can you do that in Star Wars? They have video mail, not voicemail, but video mail.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. Like, it was ringing a lot, and then he went over there, and it was, like, not ringing anymore.
Right. But, it was Bail Organa. And I learned today, like, I probably should have known this, but Bail Organa took his wife's last name. So he's not even an Organa. He married Queen, like a Queen Organa. And so, like, Organa is the mother's maiden name. Did you know that?
No.
Because how is Leia a princess? Because she's the daughter of a queen, not the daughter of a senator. So did you know that?
Oh, because Bail
married a queen.
Oh, because Bail's a senator, not a king.
Right.
I just assumed he was a king.
I always never understood that, but I heard today that he took his wife's last name and became an Organa. And so when Leia was like, "I'm not even a real Organa," even Bail's not an Organa.
Yeah, what the hell?
So I don't know. Maybe Chad can fact check me on that, but that's just what I heard today. I was like, oh, I guess that makes the whole princess thing make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's royalty because of her mother, not because of her father.
No, everyone's saying that you're right. So
I just learned it today. So
now was everyone saying that you're wrong about Obi-Wan thinking? Maybe.
No, they're on my side with that one. But
Will is, but
anyway, Bail's call was like, I know we just said no communication, but like, no, I haven't heard from you. Taking too long. And he's like,
I would be the same if my kid was kidnapped and the guy told me that you found him, but then 3 days later you're still not back.
So are we under the impression that
he said that? He said your mom. He said that in episode 2, I think. I think it was 2 or 3. He said that your parents know that you're safe. I think it was after, because then she was like, why did my parents not send army? So in episode 2, he relayed a message to them to say that they're safe, that she was safe.
Oh, I don't remember that, but it might be there. But okay.
Which is why in his message he said like, he said something about the two of you.
He's like, I hope you both stay safe.
Yeah. That's how it ended. So he already knew that they're together. Okay.
All right. But he was saying, though, if I don't hear from you soon, it seemed to imply like you both.
Tatooine.
No, it seemed that if he doesn't hear anything from Obi-Wan, that means Obi-Wan is either dead, they're both dead, or Leia is forever lost. Mm-hmm. And so like he's like, if that's true, then I have to put my resources to keeping Luke safe. Because if they have Leia, if somehow they break Leia, like they can maybe somehow connect dots or mind probe her or learn that she's force sensitive or something. So
I think it's more the sense that he's afraid that they got caught.
Right, but the point is he's going to protect Luke, though, because he feels that he might not have a daughter anymore ever again. Mm-hmm. So, like, because he says, in that first episode, Leia is just as important as Luke. And so, like, he understands the importance of keeping Luke safe, especially if Obi-Wan doesn't get back to him and he has to assume that Obi-Wan is dead, that Obi-Wan's not going to be there to protect Luke, so he has to protect Luke because.
Yep.
Now I wonder though is. So obviously, Leia's adopted mother knows that Leia's not her biological kid. But like, I wonder, does she know that Leia is Anakin's and Padme's child?
I don't.
Or does Bail only know that? It's like, oh, hey, honey, I brought home a baby girl. She's an adopted kid now. Like, I wonder. I forget what her name is. Like, is it in? Starts with the I think, doesn't it? But
yeah.
I wonder if she even knows.
Because I know. Because when he showed up with her, it was just him.
Well, she's there too, but it's just them embracing Leia, looking over at the city.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he brought Leia to her.
Right.
It wasn't like Obi-Wan or like Yoda. It was like,
I wonder. Like, I wonder like what he told her, like, because you can't just if you just showed up with a baby at your house and hey honey, like here's.
It's not a stray dog. Like
your wife's gonna ask, where'd you get this baby?
Where did you find it? The mall. So like, just buy one get one half off.
Oh boy. But like, I wonder like what she knows. But my point is, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Bail, Beru, and Owen know like where these babies came from. But I wonder if the mother knows. That's all. Who knows? We'll probably never know. But yeah. So
Jerica said it doesn't really say it in anything, but you can kind of assume she does.
Right.
I think she probably does because of how naughty she is.
But
but she might not know because he could just be like, "Hey, like the Jedi, whatever, got attacked, and this was a youngling that was there, and I'm taking her home."
Even then, that's just as dangerous as Anakin's kid.
Wait, was she in the video with Bell talking to Obi-Wan?
Yes.
So then she knows.
Right.
Right? Good point. She was in that video?
Yes, because that's when Bail says she is just as important as the boy. So she at least knows that these two people are siblings. These two babies are siblings, and then they were separated for a person. So she probably knows that she's at least a child of a fallen or of a Jedi. Whether or not she knows that it was Anakin, who knows? But yes, so this is the message from Bail, and then
the mom's definitely in that video, so yeah, she knows.
So then after he gets this message, Tala comes in and asks if everything is okay. And so like I didn't really understand the point of this speech or this story that she tells, because she just gives more information about like how she was with Inquisitors that found 6 families with 14 total people, and 6 of them had Force sensitive children or something like that, and the Inquisitors killed everyone. And she just kind of said, and she shows like on her holster or something, this little scratches, like this is for each kid that I've rescued. Mm-hmm. But like I don't understand what this story really added to the story, because like we knew that's what she was doing. She was saving kids, and we know that she was an Imperial officer who turned. So like I didn't really get it, like what the point is, because obviously it's something to help Obi-Wan remember, or because she said something about you can't forget things that have happened, but you can still make things better. But like he was already trying to help, so like I didn't really get it. But it just this should have been a speech that happened in episode 3, like in their little hideout space. Like it would have made more sense there. But
that's fair.
But while all this is happening, the stormtroopers, they're bombarding the blast door, trying to get in. Mm-hmm. And then Obi-Wan's like, we have to slow them down. They're going to get in eventually. And so he says that he wants to go talk to the third sister. And so somehow they communicate to her that they want to talk because, like, was it the Purge Troopers was like, they're looking to negotiate or something? Like, so maybe they just turn the general frequency or something on the radios that can just whatever. But the third sister goes up to the blast door while Anakin is there, and they have a very interesting conversation. And this is where we learn the backstory and plan for, that Reva has. And yes, she was the girl in the opening scene of the season during Order 66.
Called
it. Everybody called it. But yes, so that's great. And so then it's like, okay, well then, you know, what is the significance of this? And Obi-Wan, you know, comes to the conclusion that, like, you know, how would, like, you're too young to know him unless you were at the temple during Order 66. Yep. And he's like, you saw him there. And so and then he's like, because I'm feeling that he's kind of reading her thoughts and feelings, and says, oh, you're not actually serving him, you're just trying to, what was the line? You're not serving him, you're trying to
close to him,
trying to find him or search for him. So I'm thinking that when she gets, you know, I don't know, like, becomes the Grand Inquisitor, I feel like that's the first time she actually saw Vader in person. Because he said you're trying to find him. Because we learned that she wants to kill Vader because he is the one that killed her friends and what she called her family. And so do you think that this is what happened? That this is the first time that she saw Vader in person?
Maybe. It's kind of hard to tell. Because didn't she talk to Vader though before?
Over a video call, holo call.
Oh.
Like in episode 2 or something. Because the line that Obi-Wan says, like, you're looking for him or searching for him or something like that. I'm like, that's weird, because if you're being trained with him or whatever, but maybe because she was so weak that Anakin or Vader didn't train her at all, just the Grand Inquisitor and other Inquisitors trained her.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really cool story. That
we're wrong. Last episode, he choked her out.
Oh. Dang it.
God, no.
Well, and that kind of ruins my... but maybe it's just...
But I think it's more like she's getting close to him and letting him... So she's trying to get to the point where he will fully trust her, like putting the Grand Inquisitor mark on him. And that's as close to him as you can get.
Right. Like, yeah.
And a lot of people that complained about the canon was like, why does she know? She should not know that Vader would not let her know that whole thing, right?
Right.
This is why you don't jump to the gun, okay? Chill.
Right.
Chill, people. It's not Rian Johnson making this, okay? Chill.
Okay, calm down. But yeah, and the thing is, like, she, you know, I feel like if she wanted to, she had to have known that she couldn't defeat Vader. So, like, it would make sense, like, if she became Grand Inquisitor to be, like, trained by Vader, to be more powerful. Like, you know, yeah, you want to kill him now, but, you know, be trained by him for a year or two, get strong in the Force, because obviously Vader's going to beat, you know, the regular, normal Grand Inquisitor, but it would still be a good fight. Like, maybe the Grand Inquisitor could actually have some moments of power against Vader. I don't know. But when she's the lowest ranked Inquisitor, like, you don't have any chance against Vader. So
exactly.
But yeah, so I still like this story.
Even when the fifth brother kind of mollywops her a little bit, kind of like
right. But I, people weren't liking her story, didn't know what her story was. But like, this is a story where, because people were afraid that she was going to turn to the light or turn good, but like, even if she joined Obi-Wan like to fight, like she didn't turn to the light side because she just wants revenge. She just wants to kill Vader / Anakin. So
yeah, I don't think this is her turning good.
Right. That's my point. Like, she's not going to turn good, even though she's doing a good thing in a sense of trying to get rid of a Sith Lord. But like, I really like, the character. Like, okay, whatever for like so far in the show, but this one I actually kind of like the character now. I like the story.
Yeah, me too.
Makes her more intriguing, and there is a rumor that there's going to be she's going to get her own show. This is a rumor. I don't know how valid it is, but
I don't know how I'd feel about that. I don't think she needs her own show. You like her that much?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying I like her a lot more than I did, and
no, I think her story arc and what they're doing with her character is a lot better than I thought they were going with her character.
Right.
And so I do appreciate that, and I think the whole concept behind her character is really well done. And I think people, I don't know if it's just the Boba Fett show, but so many people were afraid that they're messing this up so much. And like, I mean, she was 2 episodes in, and she got so much hate mail and racist stuff and just crap, and it's just like, can we just chill?
Watch the show, let the story play out.
Let it play out, and then once if it doesn't do what you want it to do, then hate on it. But like, let's not just assume that Disney's gonna mess this up. It's like, geez, Louise, people, just breathe a little bit,
Put on your Vader mask and breathe. Like,
yeah, come on,
take a chill pill. But yeah, so anyway, she like says that like I can do this alone. I don't need your help. And then she cuts through the door and opens it, and Obi-Wan force pushes the crap out of her, pushes her back like 50 feet. Mm-hmm. She doesn't fall over. She like lands on her feet and like slides back, which is a cool thing. But this is when it all go crazy and everyone's inside and are shooting out and the soldiers were shooting in, and it was this non-stop firefight. And it was just the people getting pushed back into the caves, back into the tunnels. And at this point, Leia is still trying to get the door open. And then Tala gets hit in the gut. I was like, dang it. This means she's going to die. Because I was really hoping we were going to see her in Andor. Like, it would have been so great.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like, having her join the rebellion in a bigger way.
About that part.
Like, I was really hoping that was such a great thing to have a new character.
Because
I really like her.
Andor's like first love interest.
Oh gosh,
no. I'm just saying, like they could have like.
Okay, first of all, she's like in her 40s, and he's.
Hey, don't judge.
At this point,
chill. Okay. Don't judge.
Pretty sure that even in the galaxy far, far away, it's still illegal. But
he's not that young.
I don't know. I think he was probably like a teenager at this point.
Still, by the time Andor starts, he's not 17 or 16.
I don't know. Anyway, pointless love stories I don't care about. So anyway, I still wish she was going to be in that show. But this was probably the saddest part in the whole show so far. Because she gets hit. The Ned B takes a bunch of hits, and his last act is crouching down to protect her while he's still getting hit. I felt so sad. Like, oh no. And then Obi-Wan's trying to get to her, and she pulls out a thermal detonator.
Yeah.
Dude, this was my biggest emotional reaction. Like, I was almost like full-fledged crying when this happened. Like, I was like, whew. Like, it was rough. Because when she said, "May the Force be with you," that's kind of when I lost it. Like, I was like, dang. Like, I didn't think I was gonna miss her this much, but it was a very meaningful death.
I think it's meaningful, but I did not have that attachment to her.
Oh,
personally,
when people sacrifice their life like that.
At the same time, I was also thinking, like, is Wrecker like in there? And he's gonna take his helmet off at the end. Like,
oh gosh. I would have been so mad if that happened.
I think we all would have been.
But yes,
because of all the crap I talked last episode too. Like, that would have been so jacked up. I mean, yeah, it was a very sad moment, and she made the decision, right? Like, she took that into her own hands, and
she still could have thrown the thermal detonator down the hallway, though.
Especially because they saw it and they started running away.
Right. So she still could have survived. Ned B would have been enough to protect her.
Also, they were like running away before she even like ignited it, so maybe she could have acted like it, and then they would start running, and then she could have escaped.
Right, but yeah. So then after this, Vader arrives and tells the Grand Inquisitor, the Third Sister, to stand down. Another flashback to the sparring match, blah, blah, blah. And Obi-Wan.
Vader's not there yet.
Huh?
You said Vader is on the planet?
Well, he arrives.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was already there, remember?
He landed separately, though.
No, they just went on their own escape pod from his ship.
No, I'm saying, but Vader wasn't on the ground at first.
Correct.
Because
he's not on the ground until after.
But he's in the ship up top, and he says, "Tell the Grand Inquisitor to stand down." Because the officer on the deck or on the bridge comes and says they have him locked down or pinned down, and then he's like, "Tell the Grand Inquisitor to stand down."
Like way later, bro.
What did I miss then in the episode?
So it goes from her getting blown up, then Obi-Wan staring at her, right? And then it goes to the flashback. It goes to Vader looking like he's thinking, Obi-Wan's thinking, which is why I think they're communicating. Then it's Vader. Oh, wait, he does say that. Never mind. He says stand down.
Yeah, okay.
Tell her to stand down.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. They're trapped. Obi-Wan.
He said Obi-Wan's already ours. That's what he said.
Right. And then
which is also why I think they're communicating. But keep going.
What? What does that have? How does that confirm
I think they're communicating. He knows that he's so stressed out. He can feel in the Force that he is like
that doesn't mean they're communicating. Like when Vader showed up in Episode 3, they can sense each other's presence. That doesn't mean they're communicating.
But in a sense, that is communicating.
Oh, okay. From a certain point of view. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. That's not what you mean at all.
I don't think necessarily they're having conversations with these flashbacks, but the Force is leading them to the same flashback.
I don't think that's how the Force works, but okay.
I think it's all from a certain point of view.
You do you, Drew. But Obi-Wan says he's going to surrender. And
he gives the wrong guy all his stuff.
It gives him his lightsaber, his blaster, and a comm thing, which I was okay, fine, whatever. Because they're like, "How are you going to fight without any weapons?" And he's like, "There's more than one way to fight," or something like that. And so I'm trying to think how this.
The droids or the troopers are dragging the bodies out, and they arrest him because he walks out the door. And then it goes to...
Okay, yeah.
What's her name? Still trying to fix the
third sister is out there,
and
he's
pacing because she was told not to do anything anymore.
And so then Obi-Wan's like, "You're not bringing me to Vader. I'm bringing him to you." Yeah, I'm like, "Here's your opportunity to kill Vader or fight Vader." And so, like, do you think Obi-Wan thought she had a chance to fight him? Or, like, what? Because, like...
No, or did he I think he knew that he can manipulate her to get what he needed.
Right. Because, like, I feel like maybe at this point, him giving her that little hint, like, made her go faster in her plan than she wanted to. Because maybe she wasn't going to plan to kill him this early. But when he planted that seed in her mind, like, now is your opportunity, maybe she jumped the gun. But that's just the plan. So then I didn't understand why, though, that they put him back, like, into the behind the locked door. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, why didn't they just leave him out there and then have Vader come like 2 minutes later?
Like, because she was gonna trap him in there. She was gonna trap Vader in there.
That's what you think?
No, that is because Vader goes through there to get a one-on-one with Kenobi. Kenobi gets away, and because she didn't, like, the whole point was they brought him in there to keep him locked up. Kenobi kills the troopers and then was able to still run away. And then Vader was like, she probably was like, he's in there, he's locked in there. Then he goes in there and doesn't see her. They escape. And then she goes in after Vader behind locked doors and tries to kill him.
I don't know. Like, that's... I don't know, because it just made sense to, like, leave him out front.
Well, if she was trying to not kill Vader, yes. She doesn't want all the troops to find out right away. Because the troopers are automatically just going to shoot her down as soon as he...
I don't know. If you kill Darth Vader, I'm pretty sure everyone else would be like, okay.
It's not like everyone's going to bow.
What's your orders, Lord Reva? Or
no.
Lady Reva would be the equivalent of Lord. But, like, okay, I guess, whatever. But the thing is, I thought that they were going to both fight Vader.
No.
Because that's what he originally said. Like, we can take him.
He wanted, but I don't think she...
But, like, she didn't say no, like, in that moment.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought that the transport was going to leave, and then it was going to be Vader fighting against Reva and Obi-Wan. But then he goes us on the ship and leaves. It's like, okay, whatever. But anyway, before...
I think after how much Vader demolished her, or him, I think he knew, like, if those two were battling Vader, just those two, they would still lose. I think the only way she was able to do that is if she...
But the point was that he said...
in the back.
But the point was that he was going to be the distraction.
Which he was.
Right, but he was supposed to be there. He was supposed to fight Vader, or be there so that Vader could see him and pursue him. And while he's doing that, she comes from behind and kills Vader.
I mean, she tried to do that in the same
thing. But it didn't happen because Obi-Wan wasn't there.
Yeah, but it was like the same thing.
But he said that all his focus will be on me.
Which it was.
But it wasn't, because the ship
she didn't go fast enough. That's her own fault. She's slow. She didn't have the Vader walk, the Vader swag going through that
I don't know. I just...
If she would... What she should have done is walk way faster. And then as soon as Vader's holding the shit with his hand, stab him in the back because he could not focus on that much.
You're right. That's when she should have done it.
That's when she should have done it. But this girl was slacking. She wanted to slowly walk through there and make a dramatic scene. like all villains do.
Yep.
They talk too much and then they get hurt.
Anyway, it goes to another flashback, and this is where Kenobi makes the claim to little Annie that your need for victory blinds you, and so that you could tell that scene, and then the last one when he says like you need to stop trying to prove yourself. You can see that Anakin was very like shocked and offended.
Yeah.
And like maybe he's like maybe you're right type of offended. Like he wasn't like upset about it, but like it was just like a shock to him.
It was like a shock. The when Vader or when Anakin did the whole spinning move behind his back, it was so classic Anakin.
Yeah, that's one of his moves.
Like
so.
their fighting style, like what they're doing, it was so Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like they looked so good. That was like the thing. Like besides the close ups to Anakin face, like if it was a distance, it's fine, but it's when it's close up. But yeah, I don't know. It's still really good. He just needs Botox, but it's still pretty good.
Okay. So
then you get Vader walking.
Yep. But then it goes to Leia fixing the door. And so, because she finds Lola in there and saves Lola. And then they open the door. And Haja, he's running to the transport and drops everything. And everyone's loading up into the ship. And then it's Vader walking through the hallways or the tunnels. And then he enters into the area where there's just a ship taking off. And he catches the ship. I was hooting and hollering when this was happening. I didn't. Okay, it didn't surprise me.
Good.
It didn't surprise me that he tried to hold the ship. It surprised me at how well he was able to do it.
Freaking fast and how good.
Yeah, it was like he just put his hand up and it was full control. Because like, I think it's supposed to parallel Ahsoka holding back Maul's ship at the end of Clone Wars, kind of like paralleling their both trying to hold the ship back, and like Ahsoka had a much smaller ship, and obviously she's not as strong in the Force as Anakin, or Vader, but like she was struggling to hold Maul's ship back, but Vader just with ease grabbed it, held it back, and then threw it down on the ground. And then he starts ripping it open. Like, holy smokes.
So good, bro.
I'm like, the down for a count, Obi-Wan, he dies here. They broke canon. Like, it's over. Like, it's done. But then he looks in there and it's empty. And then you see all through it, the windows on the other side of the ship, the other ship take off that was behind there. So I was like, dang, that's intense. Because that's the most powerful we've seen Vader. And we've all been looking for.
And it was like the best decoy of all time. Like, how did they know to do that?
Well, I think putting a ship between you and Vader is something you would want to do anyway.
True. But it fully launched up and that ship was just in there. And then plain dead.
Right. But yes. So then it flashes to the final flashback, and it's where. So I should say in the previous one, Anakin disarms Obi-Wan, and so Anakin thinks he won.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, Obi-Wan is fighting Anakin without a saber, and then is able to disarm Anakin, and then takes Anakin's saber, and so he's like, what did he say? You don't have to always prove yourself, and until you stop trying to prove yourself, you're not going to be a Jedi Knight. And so, but then in episode 2, that's when, because I don't know if it's like where it's officially stated, but I think right after the events of Attack of the Clones is when he becomes a Jedi Knight officially. Because at the beginning of the Clone Wars show, he doesn't have his braid, so I don't know what time difference there is between the movie and the first chronological aspect of the show is, but it's within probably a month or two or something. I don't know. But so I don't know if the events of the Attack of the Clones resulted in him. Was that his Jedi trial officially? I don't know.
Probably, I would assume.
I don't know what his official thing is on that, but
I would assume. I mean, you don't get a better trial than that.
What? Rolling around in the fields of
losing your arm
of Naboo, and I don't know.
That's his manly trial.
Okay. Anyway,
no, I'm talking about losing your arm in battle, not listening. He should have was. I don't know.
Yeah, he was defiant. He should.
Yeah, he should have
disobeyed his master's orders.
More
and
and more, I think
Jedi.
about
But
there's a lot of red flags that they did wrong, and that was one of them. By letting him cut his blade off.
But see, so I don't know. I was thinking about the whole flashback thing, and this story and lesson that we have from the flashback, and it almost makes it look like because Obi-Wan knows that Anakin wants to prove himself because he's knows that he's supposedly the chosen one. He knows that he always wants victory. He knows that he's too aggressive, and it's almost like to show that that Obi-Wan failed to address these things in Anakin, because when they fight each other in Revenge of the Sith, he's like, "I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you." And I wonder if he realized that he didn't address these flaws in Anakin more directly than he should have, because all these things is what added to his arrogance that led to a lust for power, like he says. And so, I think that's probably what Obi-Wan's biggest regret is that he didn't address these flaws in Anakin when he had the chance, because he knew about them. It's not like he didn't realize them, because we see in the flashback that he knew these struggles. So I think that adds to the story of Obi-Wan and his acknowledgement.
I could see that.
But yeah. So do you think we're going to get more flashbacks next episode?
Yes, 100%.
Do you think they're going to be Anakin again? Flashbacks?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're going to get flashbacks with Qui-Gon. We haven't gotten Qui-Gon yet.
That'd be dope.
Even if the flashbacks are post Revenge of the Sith, like when if he was able to commune with Qui-Gon at an earlier point after he went into hiding, but I don't think we're gonna get Ahsoka and Rex in a flashback. We were all hoping Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex in a shot, but I don't think we're gonna get that now. But I don't know if we'll see any more flashbacks from the Clone Wars era or not, but I think if we do get flashbacks, it's going to be with Qui-Gon of some sort.
It'd be cool if Obi-Wan has a flashback with Qui-Gon and Anakin has a flashback with Ahsoka.
That's not gonna. Ahsoka's not gonna happen because this is about Obi-Wan and Vader. But yes, it would be cool. But I thought it would be cool if, because Obi-Wan is trying to learn to remember how to use the Force again. It'd be cool if his flashbacks was him sparring with Qui-Gon and him learning the moves and lessons of dueling from Qui-Gon. Don't you think that'd be cool?
Yeah.
Seeing them sparring, and then him, because he hasn't fought Vader or with a saber since Vader, in episode 3 or Anakin episode 3. He was defending himself in this show against Vader, but that's not really fighting. So he has to learn how to flow with a saber again. And I think it'd be cool if it was him having flashbacks with his
shadow
training.
Boxing, his training.
Yeah, getting lessons from Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
But then Liam Neeson looks way older than Hayden does. So, I don't know how well they would have to de-age Qui-Gon for that. But
I would hope so.
But yeah.
But you know what you don't want to de-age?
What's that?
Our sponsor.
Our sponsor? What is our sponsor?
Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Oh, interesting. I do happen to have a little commercial for them. So let's take a listen to our sponsor for today, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it. All right. So, after this flashback, the third sister arrives. And
she
here's the thing. You remember from Avatar, The Last Airbender, Sokka, he yells, "Sneak attack!" from 50 feet away. I felt like this was the same exact thing, because she
swings down. She should have pulled. What she should have pulled is what Kylo did to Snoke, where instead of actually doing a motion, just put it up next, walk up next behind him, and just ignite it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm
and just get stabbed.
Saying.
That's what I mean. She swung down and of course he's gonna sense that.
She started it way far, because she ignited and ran towards him and attacked, I think. But
not really. She was right behind him and then she just swung.
But even then, could have just
she should have just turned it on.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But
and she sneaks up the way I sneak up to my room so my kid doesn't wake up. She's sneaking up behind him.
And how often do you wake up your son?
Every time.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, maybe you had a better chance against Vader.
No, I don't. That's what I'm trying to apply. That never works. You should have just walked up to him like you were his friend, because you're the Grand Inquisitor, right? Walk up behind him as Vader, it's gonna be okay, or we'll get him next time, and then just ignite it on his back instead of let's slowly walk and then yeah.
But yes, this is so.
But it's such a good fight, though.
What Vader? So Vader fought someone without a he fought without a lightsaber against someone with a saber, and I've always
Obi-Wan
thought
against him.
I've thought this is how duels should go a lot, where they use the Force in this way when they're dueling. We see that in The Rise of Skywalker a little bit, where both Kylo and Rey stop the blade that's coming at him using the Force. But what Vader did here, I felt it's something that should be more common in dueling, where you're using the Force, where you're pushing people away.
That's redirecting. What Obi-Wan did to him in that flashback. He didn't have a weapon.
Well, but that was just hand-to-hand combat, though, and then he pulled the saber out of his hand. But here, Vader's
did he actually hit Luke? I don't think he hit Luke. He was dodging everything he did.
No, because he grabbed him and rolled behind him, pushed him away, and then force pulled his lightsaber out of his hand. They locked arms, and then he pushed him away. And then remember that. but like it makes sense that like if you're force sensitive, like to use the force when you're doing like push, use it to stop someone's momentum or to redirect something, and so you can attack or something. Like I just like this the way it played out here, just because I've always wanted to see this and in like a more skilled manner than just like what we saw in The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just great because he was still toying with her. Like he could just force choke the crap out of her.
Especially when she turned on the blade and was spinning in circles, which is so cool. I didn't realize hers did that. I mean, I kind of assumed, but we only saw her ever ignite one half of her blade, not two halves.
Right. I did like though how she tried to like turn the other one on and like stab him in the face.
Yeah, that was a good move.
But I just thought it was.
I thought it was so
wonderful.
Clean. Like it looked so good, and
like
even
the choreography
when
was very good.
He knocked the blade up, and then he pushes her stomach. Like he lifts the blade up and then pushes her stomach. Like it was so smooth and flew her across. And then she did that. Then she spins it, and then he stops at mid spin because that's how strong he is. It made Vader look so cool. Every episode's like Vader is like the coolest character.
It just makes him in A New Hope look lame.
True.
But yeah, so this is what I've always wanted to see in a saber duel, and that's cool because like he toys with her with using the force, and then he takes her saber, detaches them apart, and then has one of her half, and then gives her the other half, and they do a little fight, and then he throws his saber away, pulls it out of her hand, and pulls his back, and then is playing both of them at her, which it was just so like eloquent. I don't know. It's just like ballroom dancing with a lightsaber. He was just so good at it. Like it was just so smooth. Like everything was just choreographed well.
It was so dope.
But here we see during this,
and she was kneeling, and I thought he was gonna pull.
Oh, cut the head off. She should do. Like,
yeah. Well, we know why he didn't, right?
Why?
She's not dead.
Huh?
She's not dead. He knows that.
You think that he left thinking that she was going to survive?
100%.
Why?
Because he did it already once.
But why would he do it again?
Because he knows that she's going to try to track Obi-Wan. So it's better. She's better off alive right now. So if she finds Obi-Wan, then he can track her down too.
I don't think that's because she has no way. She has no way to track him.
Well, I mean, she does, but
she does now. But he didn't know that. But true, I think he was just mimicking what he. No, he just redid what he did before. Because during this we see the flashes where we actually see him kill kids. Finally, I've been waiting for this my whole life. We see him kill like I think just 2 of them, but I really like how they did the timing with like the parallel and flashing where he stabs her in both scenes right in the chest or stomach or whatever. But
with the 501st troopers behind him, it looks so cool. Yeah, 1, 2, and she's just standing there. He stabs them both at the same exact time.
Right, and so that's great. And how he said, "You think I didn't know about this youngling?" So this whole time, because like he said in episode 2, I've been watching you for a long time, and it makes so much more sense now because he's known forever that this girl that he stabbed in the Jedi Temple is this girl who is now an Inquisitor, the third sister.
Yeah.
And I just really liked how he called her a youngling because to show her that he knew this whole time her plan was to like try and kill him. Like,
and on top of that, the Grand Inquisitor was probably like, "Hey, this girl stabbed me."
Possibly, but
because he's like fully healed, he's fine. So,
right, and so, I really like his line. Was like, "Rage does wonders to preserve your life or keep your life or something like that, which is interesting because he gets stabbed and uses his rage, the dark side, to live. Maul did the same thing to survive. She did it too. Like, the reason she survived is because she fed into her anger and hate when she was dying on the ground, and that preserved her life, which is interesting that in 3 instances, Dark Force users used their rage to preserve their life.
Vader, Maul.
Well, Vader would have been, no pun intended, toast if he didn't get rescued by Palpatine.
Yeah, but he had so much rage that he was able to survive for a little bit longer than
for a hot minute.
For a hot minute, he was able to survive for at least a hot minute.
Right, but yeah. So I thought that was just really cool that they added that idea, because we knew Maul did that. Mm-hmm. So like, he fed off his hate, which was, he said he used Palpatine's training to survive, but it was also his hate for Obi-Wan too.
Yeah.
But then the Grand Inquisitor takes the badge off Reva and then puts it back on, and they leave. But then it flashes to the transport, and classic Star Wars, the hyperdrive is out. Like, come on. Like,
when is it never not out?
Here's the thing, Drew. If somehow you and I gets transported to the Star Wars universe, we need us to make high quality hyperdrives, okay? Like, affordable hyperdrives that everyone can have. Like, we'd become rich, dude. We'd be hanging out on Canto Bite every weekend.
You will never catch me on Canto Bite, I'll tell you that.
Oh, if you were one of the richest people in the galaxy, you'd be hanging out there. No problem.
I mean, if I was one of the richest people in this galaxy, I'm not going to Vegas, so...
Yeah, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
You'd go to Vegas at least once.
Sure, but not every weekend.
There'd be a Star Wars celebration there, and you'd...
Okay, that's different. It's not the same.
But while they're in the transport in space, he's like, okay, we don't have the hyperspace or the hyperdrive, and they're in pursuit of us, so they're gonna catch him. And while this is happening, Obi-Wan senses something is wrong, and it's Reva moving towards the comm link thing that Haja dropped, and she's able to see enough of the recorded message to know that Bail Organa is going to Tatooine, and Owen has a boy. So she knows now that somehow this boy is connected with Bail, and Obi-Wan is involved with Bail, and then there's this girl that they kidnapped, and then there's this boy, and so I feel that she's going to connect some dots about the identity of Leia and Luke next episode. We don't know, but somehow she's going to end up on Tatooine next week. Is that what you're assuming?
Yeah, somehow that girl got die.
Yeah, so we don't know how it's going to play out, because
the homestead looks so cool in the dark with the lights.
Yeah, like,
looks so cool.
Yeah, it's way more pristine and like it seems like it's just well kept.
Yeah, the homestead looks sweet. Luke is just sleeping in his bed.
Yep. And so, like, finally that actor gets some screen time. Yeah. He's like, was way off in the distance. You can't even tell that it's him in the first episode, and now he's just, all he has to do is just lay in bed.
Have you seen the pictures of that actor and Leia, and then like they have like the image of like Luke and Leia from like, I think, A New Hope, or like
I have seen stuff like
Empire Strike Back, but like those kids actually kind of look like them. Like, I think they did a pretty good job at picking.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is true, but apparently Carrie Fisher, when she was a kid, had a pet bird named Lola. Oh. I don't know if that's true. I've seen mixed results, but there's still pictures of little kid Leia, or little kid Carrie Fisher, that's about 10 years old,
with a bird,
with a pet bird.
Oh, I hope that's true. That would be awesome.
So I don't know if it's supposed to be a parallel, if the bird's name was Lola or not. I've heard mixed reports, but that's pretty cool.
That's sweet.
But yes. So all we know for the next week's episode is that it seems like this transport is probably going to get caught in a tractor beam, classic. And Obi-Wan's going to be captured. Who knows what the fate of everyone else on the transport is going to be. Obi-Wan knows that Luke is in danger. He can sense something.
Mm-hmm.
Reva is probably going to go to Tatooine again and end up at the homestead. And so, like, somehow I feel like the first half of next week is going to be Obi-Wan escaping somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to get away, and Vader's going to lose him, and there's no way that he's going to know where Obi-Wan went. And when he arrives on Tatooine, he's going to go check on Luke. He's probably going to assume that Bail is there because that's what he said he was going to do. And when he gets to Homestead, Reva's going to have Luke in his possession. So I don't know how Leia is going to get back to Alderaan unless she's brought to Tatooine also.
That'd be weird.
Because like I can't imagine them, Leia and Luke, meeting.
No.
But
because then he would know who Leia was then.
Right, or at least Leia would remember Luke. Luke, he might forget, but Leia would not forget meeting Luke on Tatooine.
Just how Leia knew who Ben Kenobi was.
Well, okay, so last episode, when she was being interrogated by the third sister, the third sister says Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead. So now it's confirmed that Leia has heard the name Obi-Wan Kenobi alongside Ben Kenobi.
That's what I'm saying. Person. Yeah. She knows that they're the same person.
Yes.
That's what I said.
I'm saying, okay, but it's confirmed last week. We just argued about it last week, but we didn't recall that in the scene last week.
I thought I did.
We're still debating that last week. But yes, any other final predictions, Drew?
I don't have any predictions. I'm just mad that it's going to be one episode and that's it. Like, I don't understand how they're going to wrap this up in one episode. Because, like, unless it's long, it's just so much to do. Because, like, Vader's still, like, about to grab Obi-Wan at this point.
Right.
Yep. And on top of that, now we have another thing that we have to deal with when we thought that potentially that thing ended right now. Because, you know, if she would have died right there and he didn't drop that and that guy didn't freaking have... if he didn't drop that, then what would we be at? Now it's just a Vader and Obi-Wan, they fight on the ship probably or something. He gets away. He's able to bring her back to Alderaan. He goes back to Homestead, and then that's it. That's it. And then we'll get a nice of him talking to what's his name through the Force, like, and now we'll wrap it up, and that would be cool and a really cool story. And Grand Inquisitor is still a Grand Inquisitor, but they're not gonna put Obi-Wan as high as the list to find. I don't know. But instead, we have this girl who has a hole in her chest. Crawling across the dirt, finding this thing because this guy doesn't know how to hold on to anything valuable, apparently, even though that's all he did was scam people. And then, sure enough, now we have to deal with this issue. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is that
and we were promised.
We don't have enough time.
We were promised the rematch of history or something like that.
And that was definitely not from that. Maybe they're talking about the fight, the flashback fight.
No, because that's not a rematch. So like they said a rematch. So we have to see.
We have to get that.
We have to see that.
It has to be just as long as the fight in episode 3. If it's a rematch of history, it has to be at least a 20-minute duel.
Because I thought like one of the concept arts that we got, like, last summer or something, it looked like Vader and Kenobi were fighting like on like a crashed ship or something. Like, I don't know if this destroyer somehow he makes it crash back onto Jabeam, and then they're fighting on Jabeam in the wreckage or something. I don't know. But like, I think it's definitely not something they can tie up in 40 minutes. I think it would be closer to an hour just because there's these two big storylines that they have to wrap up.
Or guess what? You know what they're gonna do?
They're gonna have an end credit scene.
No, what if it's like episode 6, part 1, part 6, part 1?
They could do that,
and then and then it'll be one more week, and it'll be part.
So it's
part
because
6, part 2.
They didn't call them episodes; they call them parts. So you could be onto something. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. If I called that part
6, part 1, part 6, part 2. So that would be really fun if they did that. But
it wouldn't surprise me if they just kept this going.
Right.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we've babbled on. Still, I'm gonna give this. What are we gonna use for our 10 out of 10? What item are we gonna use this week?
Broken translators.
We could go to our classic lightsabers. How many?
Sure.
I'll give this some 10
how many
lightsabers.
How many youngling lightsabers?
10 out of 10 youngling lightsabers or youngling helmets. All right. So that's the end of the breakdown, but we got to get to the most important part of the show that all of you tuned in for, voicemails. So let's transition.
It's voicemail time. Yes, it is.
All right. So this first one, it's probably our shortest voicemail we've ever had. So let's hear a voicemail from someone called...
Lucy's in the chat right now.
Oh, she's spoiling her voicemail for later.
Oh, well. She just jumped in the chat for the first time and everyone's freaking out. So hi, Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. But yes, first voicemail from someone named Coldest. Ready? This is really quick. So you gotta listen.
All right.
Hello, Empire Radio. Have you ever looked back and wished you bought something? I know two things Qui-Gon wished you bought. Some Wesley Andrews coffee and tea, and Shmi.
Yeah, he should have bought Shmi. If he just used somehow to get Shmi, Anakin would not have turned to the dark side because he would have known.
Yeah.
And if he had some coffee...
You know what he shouldn't have done? He should have just killed Aldo. Just cut him in half and just walk out with both of them.
That too. Or if he had Wesley Andrews coffee and tea, maybe you would have had a little more pep in his step fighting Maul, and he wouldn't have gotten stabbed in the chest.
That caffeine buzz can go a long way with dodging. It's simple. Because apparently everyone can get stabbed in the chest and survive except for him.
But he didn't use the dark side.
Oh,
he didn't use rage.
Why. We learned that.
He just wanted to...
He just surrendered himself.
He just surrendered himself to the Force. To be like, I'm going to become one with the Force.
That's why. Well,
he didn't
messed up. He should have been...
He should have turned to the dark side.
Turned to the dark side right in that moment. And then cut Maul in half. Vertical, not horizontal. Just straight up cut him in half.
All right. Thank you, Coldest, for that nice joke.
It was almost like a dad joke there.
It was almost like... Well, speaking of dad jokes...
Oh, here we go.
Here's Jedi Master with yet again another dad joke.
Hello, Empire Radio. This is Jedi Master here with another amusing, I will say, dad joke. Here it is. My wife threatened to leave me because of my filthy and disgusting habits. I was so shocked I nearly choked on my toenails. Oh, man. But I actually do have a serious comment and question. So, if I was interested in doing podcasting or getting into that, what tips, tricks, or suggestions would you have for anyone looking into just doing any type of podcasting? What mics do you use? What platforms, editing, or stuff like that? So yeah, just curious. Well, that's all the time I have today. May the force be with you, always.
And to you, good sir.
Man, what's with all these fans starting their own podcasts?
I know. Chill, guys. Just
coming
listen
after
to
us. We're like Vader. We're like Vader, and
everybody.
We're like Vader, and they're all like Inquisitors coming after us.
Yeah, that's.
But you'll never take us. But
Lucy in the chat. Another podcaster? Question mark. Well, apparently.
So, one, find something that you're passionate about to talk about. Like
not Star Wars.
Not Star Wars. But if you want to start Star Wars, go
dad
ahead.
jokes. Let's start doing dad jokes only podcast.
You could start interviewing dads, different dads
just
that
start
you know.
burning them. Oh, that's a cool concept. Just start roasting dads. You can roast me all you want. That'd be fine.
But yeah, so find something that you can actually talk about on a regular basis, or like, you have to think about like how often do you want to do it. Like if you want to do weekly podcasts like we do, like you have to have something that you can talk about regularly on a thing. But if you want to do something like once a month, then maybe it's something that's not as big of a topic, but it's still something you could do once a month. So find a topic that you want to talk about, that you can talk about. Plan out what you want to talk about. You don't want to just push record and be like, yeah, so Star Wars or whatever.
Yep.
Lightsabers are cool. Like, plan out something. Be strategic in that. You asked about like software. So we use a website called Zencaster to record. And so that is free. There's a free version that anyone can use for doing audio and video, maybe. We pay for the premium version, so we have the soundboard. So this is like when we have the buttons and the voicemails, we can play them and you can hear them. So that's what that is for. And I think with that, we get like higher quality audio files or something that record or something like that. But with Zencaster, you can record audio and video, which is what we do. And we upload on anchor.fm. And so that distributes the podcast to everything. So Spotify, iTunes.
Yeah, I would say do that.
But the one downside to that is you only log in to Anchor. You don't have access to the accounts on Spotify or on iTunes or anything like that. So we didn't know that moving in to doing this. Like we can't log into Spotify and see the stuff on there. Like we don't know our subscribers and stuff like that. So if you just want to be on Spotify and iTunes, you could just, upload them directly.
You would just have to make a website so it can pull it off, which is why we.
But you can just upload straight to Spotify though.
With a website.
You can't just start an account?
No.
Really?
That's why Anchor is such a good tool. Is because also Anchor, this is an ad, and we're gonna play this in the beginning of every episode, so you can pay us. But yeah, so that's why that's why Anchor is such a good tool, because you don't have to have a website in order for it to pull off of your account. Because if not, we would have to upload to iTunes, upload to Spotify, upload to Google Play, you have to send your website link from your episode to all those platforms. Which is why Anchor is so nice, because it does all that distributing for you and you don't have to worry about it. It just goes to every platform. Now there is a trial area too when you do start an Anchor account. I don't know how it is now because we've started such a long time ago. But when there's times where you don't get iTunes right away, it takes a couple weeks or a month or two before iTunes actually opens up. Because right away it's only Spotify.
What? Really?
Yeah. You have to get approved by iTunes.
Well, I know. So Lucy just started hers, and I know she's on Spotify and iTunes.
Okay.
Already.
So yeah, I don't know how it is. I know for us it took a few weeks before we can get on iTunes.
And so technically, Spotify owns Anchor.
Yes.
And so
When we started, they didn't. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, really?
Nope. When we started, it was its own platform.
Right. And literally like 80% of our listeners are on Spotify. So
because they push their
algorithms better so that they get more traffic.
So it's cool.
So there's that. Now on Anchor, I think you can record on Anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you can edit on there. Like we never
Lucy,
did that
I
way.
don't know if that's what you do. Let us know.
But so I think you can edit on Anchor.
Yep.
And stuff like that. We've never used that. So now, so then if you want to do editing though, like of the audio better and put clips together and stuff, then that's something you're going to have to do on a separate program. I use a video editing software called DaVinci Resolve, which is free. The free version, there's a free version, and it's like technically one of the best, most powerful video editing programs in the world. But like, obviously, I'm not some fancy video editor. But so you can use that for free. You can just do YouTube tutorials on how to do basic stuff. And if you want to do video versions too, then you can edit it on there as well. And so that's free. And so you don't have to worry about paying for that. Because if you get something like, what does Andrew use? What's the other one? The big one. Adobe and stuff like that. You have to pay monthly subscriptions and stuff. So it kind of depends on what you... Adobe, stuff like that is going to have more resources online than DaVinci Resolve. But DaVinci Resolve is getting more and more big. So there's always
and if
stuff.
You're not doing video and you're just doing audio, if you can just use GarageBand. That's what we did.
Is that only for Macs?
No, I think you can download GarageBand on anything.
But there's also there's other cheap video editing softwares that you can get.
It's pretty easy to figure it out.
You can go to Best Buy and get like a $70 program that's like some no-name program, but it just does basic stuff. So that's all you would want to do. So
the biggest thing is your equipment. I would say.
I don't know anything about mics. So like we have these fancy mics that are on like these bars, but like I know like some people do like Yeti. Is that what they're called? Like
Yeti?
Yeah,
I was literally about to say do not do Yeti format.
Really?
Yeah, they're not good mics for their price because you can get a Yeti or a Snowball. I started like when I did streams and stuff. I did a Snowball or a Blue Yeti. I think it was a Snowball, but I don't like Yeti because they're not directional. They are 360.
That's not true because I looked into those and they have those where you can, there's settings on it where you can do it.
Yeah, there's settings on it, but they're not, they falter a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they're not that great.
They're probably getting better.
The only thing about some Yetis that are nice is that they are USB, so you don't have to have an interface. You can just plug it in and plug and play. So, I mean, that's why I used the Snowball for a while. But if you can afford it, I would recommend buy an interface and then buy a quality microphone because the quality sound difference is so much better and you can control it. I use a Rogue Pro mic, and which is cheaper than the better Yeti mics. It's $100 and it's Rode Pod mic. It's literally they designed that mic for podcasting. That's what I use here. And then I just use, what interface do we use, Jeremiah?
I use Focusrite.
Yeah, me too. So,
and that's so.
I don't know, but like I said, it's up to you. If you don't want to put a lot of money out there, you could just get a mic with a USB port. But we were having issues with that, and it's just the sound quality just works better if you just go for it. You have to invest money for sure, but for content, if I'm really enjoying, I mean, we do long form content once a week, 2 hours plus sometimes, but our girl Lucy, she does short form podcasting,
10-15 minutes,
and they're fun. they're really smooth. So, and I feel like a lot of people's attention span is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I know for YouTube algorithms and stuff like that, they're saying do short form content, and Lucy's podcast is short form content, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But it's cool because like you're like, oh, I have 15 minutes. I'm gonna listen to the whole podcast episode. Like I listened to Lucy's today, and it was like refreshing, super short, clean, and it was to the point, done and out, and it's good. So I feel like that might be a way that some people are starting to go. So you should try that maybe a little bit. But that's from a podcaster that does 2 hour plus every time. So I'm just saying I like the way Lucy's format is, and go check out her podcast too, you guys, if you guys haven't already. But she's probably gonna send us a voicemail right now and tell us all about it. So
it's true. She's next in line. So hopefully, Jedi Master. Hopefully
that helps. Also,
but
you can always just email us at EmpireRadioFans@gmail.com, and we can always help you out too.
Yeah. So, and this, you can just go on YouTube and just like look up podcast mics. Like they're gonna give you better information and stuff than we do. So hopefully that helps. Keep those dad jokes coming.
Yeah, send a voicemail. Keep them coming.
All right, next one from Lucy.
Hi everyone, Lucy here with my 50th voicemail. 50. That is a very big landmark.
Whoa.
And to celebrate this momentous occasion, I have an equally momentous reveal that several of you already heard. I now have a Twitch account, and while I won't be able to watch the main parts of your episode for the next several weeks because I watch Kenobi on weekends, there is a high chance I'm watching this live right now for voicemails. Hello there, me. I asked Will to thank you all on my behalf for all your support, and those of you who so kindly listen to my podcast already heard that, but thank you again, everyone. My question for you today is not as momentous, but if we were to, at some point, make another VCU in a different era, what era would we want? Listeners, you can vote too, in the chat, or better yet, send a voicemail with your response. Don't worry, Jeremiah, we'll wait until we finish the first VCU video, but I would love to do this again in my lifetime. Have a 50th voicemail anniversary tastic day, and may the 4th be with you.
Well, happy 50th, and yeah, she said, hello, post me. Yeah.
So yes, so 50. So obviously that was accelerated to 50 because of the VCU where she was sending in.
Oh, that's true. I didn't
5, 6, 7 at a time.
I was like, hey, 50 episodes in a row, but no.
Yeah, because I think earlier in the year, like Andrew's last one or whatever it was, like I think it was the first one he came back for. Maybe that was her 10th one. Because I remember she said, "This is my 10th voicemail ever." So in the past like 3 months, she's sending like 40 of them. So thank you VCU for.
That's true. There's some episodes where she had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that she did more than that too a couple of times. So
jeez.
Yeah, so it's awesome that you're on Twitch and then that you can maybe join.
She's in there right now, and I get that. I don't know how you survive into the weekend to watch Kenobi, because.
And how is she watching this episode live?
She jumped in just for the voice. Like she literally got on the voicemail part. So
she got lucky that.
Yeah.
So now we can't say
at the 2 hour mark. Come on.
We can't say anything about the show now because we don't want to spoil for Lucy. So
true.
Yes. So
her highest voicemail count was in one episode of 5 to 6 per episode. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That's as long as her podcast episodes. That's how long she did her voicemail.
All right. So her question. What was your question?
Oh, she's been coming back to every 15 minutes to see what point we are on, and then she turns it off.
Oh no, Lucy, you're being too.
You're risking it.
You're risking it because there's a lot of stuff that happened in this episode. So hopefully we didn't spoil anything. But your question about a different era, I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, our era for this first one was supposed to be post Return of the Jedi, but then it kind of did its own thing where it was the New Order / Empire, and so it wasn't really a full-fledged era, but
it was like
I think rather than an era, it should be like a topic or like a.
I want you to go. I don't want to like do too much. It's kind of hard, but I would love to know more about the origin of the Mandalorian and maybe doing like a prequel where you were younger with your brother on Mandalore, maybe something like that would be kind of cool.
I like the way their story was. We got enough information, but I don't know. Somehow it has to be where we get Will to be a Wookiee. And so every voicemail is just him trying to do the Wookiee sound. So you could do
Will is the Jar Jar of the story.
Or it could be like an anthology where there's like when we have references to things in Star Wars that we don't know the story of, like a quick like 10 voicemail VCU or something. Where
you're just looking for shorter videos to create. Is that what you're trying to do?
That too, but like when Anakin said he saved Obi-Wan from whatever in episode 2, like he's like, I saved you from whatever that was. Like, let's hear that story, or maybe.
I mean, Lucy's already doing that on her own podcast.
There is that too, or
like that whole written thing I showed to my wife Lucy, by the way, and she told me and to tell Jeremiah that we should just quit because Lucy already took all our fans just by that one little podcast episode she did about
her fan fiction.
Her fan fiction was so clean, and my wife's like, how is this person in high school talking like this? I was like, yeah, we went to a different school. My school messed up on me, and your school is doing good work, so whatever school you're going to, I need to send my kid.
I think she just has the innate ability, but
by you saying that word right there, shout out to you, Jeremiah.
Oh gosh,
we sound smart right now.
or you could do like a story about, because we hear that Yoda has a good relationship with the Wookiees. Like, what happened with the Wookiees that Yoda was so involved with? Like,
ooh, true.
Like, so there's like all these like references of things that we would like to
that's true
hear about. So we could go with that, Lucy.
The issue with that, though, if you do that, I'm gonna at one point think they're canon. I'm gonna reference things from the VCU.
Well, someday we expect Lucy to be a writer for.
No. My wife said this to Lucy, that one day you are going to be a Star Wars writer, and so don't forget about us, okay?
Yeah. Hashtag give it to Lucy.
Yeah, really, don't forget about us. Thank you.
Yeah, if she gets working on writing for movies,
gonna get in before we get in, and then she's gonna pull us in with her.
She's gonna get us in the movies, like.
True. I just want to be a scout trooper or something like that. That'd be dope.
Or something. I want to be like, those like actors or actresses that are like, they're just extras, but they're like in every movie. Like you see them. Like there's like some actors that, like this one actor has like really curly hair. He's always like sitting in the background in a restaurant or something, and people always like try and find him in movies. Like that could be us in all the Star Wars movies. Just like we're just in the background.
Just talking.
I don't know. Like if you need an Order 66 flashback and need someone.
She said that she'll talk about us at Star Wars Celebration in 20 years. So
okay,
we got that for her. In 20 years,
she's gonna be on stage, and we're gonna be like,
we'll be 50s.
We're like on a college. Remember us? Remember us? Like,
we'll be old guys in 20 years. My kid will be freaking graduated. Oh gosh.
All right. All right, Lucy. So thanks for your voicemail.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll be hearing another 50 from you in the coming years.
True.
So, all right. Next one. So it's like a two-parter. So was it last week or 2 weeks ago or something? We got the voicemail from Squeaky asking, is Star Wars science fiction or fantasy?
Oh.
So here's a follow-up, 2 follow-up for that. So let's listen to the first one.
2 follow-ups.
Hi, Empire Radio. This is Squeaky. I wanted to thank you guys for your really cool responses on my last question about whether Star Wars lands in fantasy or sci-fi. I fall into the fantasy camp, but that's only because I categorize fantasy as something that needs not be necessarily explained as long as you don't totally break the suspension of disbelief, whereas sci-fi comes with the expectation of whatever you're presenting being explained in some kind of sensible, fictitious way, whatever it may be. I hope that made sense. And there's probably some disagreement for that among our listeners. So there's my take, but it leads into the question that I have that I'm going to send another message for because otherwise this is too long.
She ran out of time. She was like rushing right to me. So yes, all right. So thank you for your thoughts on that, Squeaky.
I definitely lean on her side more.
Well, I lean to science fiction. So,
explain the Force.
Midichlorians, that's science. Am I wrong?
Yeah, because it's not science. This is how they figure out what it is that controls that power.
So science. Okay. Anyway, let's do Squeaky's follow-up question to that.
Hi, Empire Radio. This is Squeaky with my second part of the message, which is the actual question. Robots are sentient. I don't need that explained, again, because I fall into the fantasy camp as far as things go. But throughout the Star Wars universe, droids continue to show sentience and personality and a ton of sass, but they're autonomous. They think for themselves. They are routinely treated as servants and slaves, and they're routinely subjugated against. Nothing cool about that. My question for you is, has there ever been, or do you think there ever will be, a point in the Star Wars universe that we know of where droids will be consistently treated with respect and with autonomy? That is my question for you. I'd love to know your thoughts, and may the Force be with you. Bye!
Rushing
Just running out of time again.
Wow. So, I think it's interesting that she thinks that the droids are sentient, and that's due to, like, the more fantasy aspect of things. But I would say it's this straight science where the AI is so advanced that it can create.
We're like 10 years away from having these issues.
Right. So, like, her question though is about, are they ever going to get to the point where they're fully, like, respected as life in a sense? And so I think they are in a sense, because, like, if you're on the good guy's side, like, they tend to treat droids properly, like they're humans. But
except
then
for Han,
right? But then, like, if you're on the bad side, they just use them as slaves in a sense. Yeah. And so it kind of depends on what side you're on, like, the good bad side.
And if you think about, so there's two ways to think about this. I was watching A New Hope over the weekend because
that's the only movie you watch. Yeah,
it's the weekend. Actually, I watched one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life over the weekend. But
what's that?
Top Gun, Maverick.
Anyway,
I don't want to spoil anything, but literally, for sure, in my top 10 movies of all time.
Okay.
Best movie that has came out in the last 5 years. I'll say that for sure. Bro, I'm not even
better than Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
What?
Not even this. Bro, like I'm telling you, go watch it, bro.
I've never even seen the first one. I don't care.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
That makes it even worse. That's stupid.
No. Yes and no. They explain a lot of parts.
Anyway,
trust me, Jeremiah. You would
go back to the question.
So I was watching New Hope, and I was saying that, with A New Hope, the thing is, they say that scene where we don't want droids here. We don't want them. They're not supposed to be here. And when that in the cantina scene, you know what I'm talking about? They kick them out. Originally, when that was made, it was supposed to represent segregation. That was what that scene originally meant. And then they change it with Star Wars talking about, like, they kind of lean it more towards they don't trust them because of the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And that's what people were more flirting to. And that's what they're saying. That's what they're meaning. But when that originally was pointed out, that was George's goal, is to show that alien species and human species are equal, droid species and stuff like that that is supposed to not be as equal. And so there is supposed to be like a segregation there. And then that's why you also see that a lot of the time they are as more like slaves and stuff like that. Because that was what George was trying to portray. Just how the troopers are literally named after like a trooper group in the Nazi army, which was the stormtroopers. That was like a real group.
TK.
Yeah.
Is Trooper Corps, I think, in German. And
so there's a lot of stuff like that in Star Wars that's supposed to represent what we've gone through in our history, which is why Star Wars is so cool and why Star Wars is like my favorite thing. So with that being said, I think there might be a point, and I think even with Din Djarin having that issue and coming towards at the end of or season 1 of The Mandalorian, he was leaning more towards like he trusted IG-11, and now he's starting to trust droids now, and he is growing out of that mental block. And I think at one point there might be parts of this where we do see droids as more equal, but like Jeremiah said, it depends on what side you're on.
Right. And also what needs to be considered is that droids' memories are constantly wiped. And that keeps them under control, that they don't become actually sentient. And so that's why Anakin is so attached to R2, is because he never wipes its mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why R2 is so good at what he does, is he's can learn and use his past, and that creates a personality. It creates an artificial intelligence.
And I think why R2 is never wiped is because R2 can't talk back.
Well, people can understand him.
No, but like he's not the same as C-3PO. C-3PO is never wiped because even Leia's dad wipes him. Like he gets wiped by everyone, good or bad. But I think it's because he has a big mouth, and he would tell secrets that he shouldn't be telling. When R2 is more a quiet droid, he doesn't have as big of a like communication. He doesn't have to talk to everyone. He can't get forced out of like being able to, like, they can't draw stuff out of him as much as they could C-3PO. I think that's why they always wipe him.
Possibly. I don't know.
Because I think it's interesting that like even what's his name wipes him so that he doesn't even remember the Clone Wars.
Right.
So, but R2 at the same time remembers all of this knowledge.
Yeah.
And still doesn't even remind C-3PO about all the issues.
He was at Leia's birth and death. So he was there for beginning and death of Leia, which is interesting. But if you want a good movie to explore this more, go watch iRobot. That is a great movie.
True.
Anything else, Drew, on that question? That's the most philosophical you've ever been on the show, Drew.
Really?
Yeah. It was very history and philosophy.
Well,
and
you're welcome. Take that, Lucy. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Next question.
I've been listening to her podcast, so I'm trying to get better. You know.
Next question from Retta. We'll go with Retta. It was actually Jerica's next, but I'll go with Retta. Retta.
Hey, Empire Radio. This is Retta from the Discord. Just calling in with some of my thoughts from today's episode. This episode was absolutely incredible. I love how Vader just gets increasingly scary and terrifying. Like him ripping the spaceship out of the sky and then just ripping hunks off of it like a ravenous dog trying to get to a rabbit or something was just terrifying, but so cool to watch. And yeah, I don't know how they're going to wrap all of this up in just one more episode. I feel like there might be bonus episodes or season 2 coming, or at least I really hope so, because I am enjoying this so much and I'm sad that it's coming to an end. So thanks for all you guys do. Have a great rest of your day. May the Force be with you.
All right. Thank you, Retta. Now, she said like a rabbitous dog going after a rabbit.
Oh, so yeah, Lucy, Jeremiah should have warned you to mute for spoilers.
Oh,
right then. Even though Jeremiah was the one that would say we can't say anything. Is there any more spoilers?
What was it?
I mean, it was pretty spoiler heavy.
I forget what she said in it. So
She said, "Can anyone let me know when Kenobi spoilers are done? I'm turning off my sound."
Oh, sorry, Lucy. Yeah. So a ravenous dog going after a rabbit.
Jericho is in the chat. She gave her a heads up. Okay, good.
Okay. Perfect. So yes, so you're right. We don't know how it's going to play out, Retta. There's a lot to do yet in the show, but yes, it was probably the most scary that we've seen Vader. Mm-hmm. So probably the most powerful we've seen Vader. So
yeah, and like we said in the beginning of the episode, that I think we're getting bonus episodes. Part 6, Part 1, Part 6, Part 2.
Part 3, Part 4, Part 5.
What if it's Part 6, Episode 1, Part 6, Episode 2?
It'd be Part 6, Episode 1, Chapter 1. All right. But anyway, thank you, Retta. Did she ask a question?
No, she just was stating that she liked it and that.
All right, this one's from Jerica. This next one.
Spoilers?
If I remember correctly, no.
Hey, Empire Radio. This is Jerica. I am still processing Kenobi, so I'm just gonna pop in with a random question today. Out of all the characters in the Star Wars saga, who do you tend to see yourself most in? Mine kind of changes sometimes, but lately it's been a lot of Yoda, just because in a lot of the books I've been reading, it covers he loves to teach, and I love working with children and watching them grow and hit their milestones and the look of excitement when they do. Let me know what you think, and may the Force be with you.
All right, thank you, Jerica.
Thank you. Good question.
Well, I'm definitely the chosen one, so there's. What's that look, Drew? I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. Like maybe like a Rex.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Omega. I was like, really?
No,
Omega.
Rex. He's a logical guy, moral guy. I feel like I'm kind of like that. I got the shaved head. I just don't have it bleached blonde.
You should bleach blonde your hair. What do you have to lose?
If we can have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year, I'll bleach my hair. How about
there you
that?
go. There you go, chat. Spread the
So
word.
We have 9,900 to go, or 700 to go. But yeah, Rex, probably someone with a moral code. I don't know. Drew, what about you?
So the question is, who do I
relate to the most in Star Wars, like character-wise? If you were one character, who would you be that represents you? Dax?
No, I'm going to say Din Djarin.
Oh, because you're the dad.
Yeah.
Taking care of
I think the dad, taking care of your
annoying little
your
squirt.
Little squirt. And I also there's times where I like to be alone, but there's also times I work well with other people. But I do like myself zoning out and working by myself. I feel like that's Din Djarin. He does his bounty hunting, he can be in his zone, but then he can also work well with other people, and he's still finding himself even as a dad. And I feel like because we're both newly dads, we're finding ourselves right now.
All right, cool.
So, unlike Jeremiah, Grogu for life.
I'm done.
We know. That's why I said unlike you.
That gimmick needs to die. Anyway,
that's how people feel about Omega right now, which is kind of crazy.
You want her to die?
People are over her already. I'm kind of surprised.
No. All right. Last voicemail from Will. Let's listen to this.
Hey, Empire Radio. Will here. seeing as I'm about to go on vacation. I'll still send voicemails, don't you worry. I might even have a special one in Galaxy's Edge with maybe a few special guests, if you will. But what is the one place you have always wanted to visit? For me, it is Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, that was
for the obvious reason of loving the culture and wanting to learn more about the culture. Basically, yeah.
Okay, Will.
All right, Will.
Well, we hope you have fun at Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
I'm guessing
I assume you're going to Florida.
These special guests, are they going to be like characters?
Or is it David?
Could be David. But I'm guessing it's going to be some characters around. Kylo Ren, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Also, Will, let me know if you go to Galaxy's Edge and they have the melted Vader helmet. I might need to figure out how I can
Venmo some money.
Venmo something and ship something to my neck of the woods, because that looks so dope and I kind of want it in my collection. Or even maybe the chopper droid. Now they have a chopper as one. But
that's what I hear.
But yeah, mine was actually yours. Well, I want to go to Japan really bad. Pretty bad.
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a lot of places, but Japan's like number one on my list. But I still think I'm going to probably go to Paris and Italy before I go to Japan. So I'll
You could just do them all in one trip. Go to those two countries in Europe and fly over to Japan.
Because we're thinking about, I think we're going to Paris in 2024 for the Olympics.
You're going to go for the Olympics?
Yeah, because my wife has family in Paris, We have cousins that live in Paris. And one of them was in town this weekend for the funeral, and we were talking to him about it. And he's like, oh, just come. Because if you're a resident of Paris, you can get, like, opening ceremony tickets, like, pretty early, pretty far in advance, and pretty cheap. So he's like, if you plan that, I'll just get the tickets for you. And then you can stay at my place, so it's not even really that expensive. So I think we're going to do that. And then also we can go visit my best friend in Italy, because he'll have a kid by then too. So yeah.
How do you know that? That's 2 years away.
Because he already has a kid, right? Like his wife's pregnant. Like
I mean, like they're gonna
So he'll, like, I don't know if I'll actually see his kid before then.
Right.
Because they don't come to the States that much.
So. Right.
Yeah.
But for me, Will, I've said this on the podcast before, but I have no desire to travel anywhere ever. Like, I just don't get traveling. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I can...
So sad.
I can look at stuff on the internet, like, okay, this is what Tokyo looks like. Oh, this is what Paris looks like. It doesn't matter to me. I have no motivation to care about that stuff. So, sorry to be a buzzkill, but traveling does not tickle my fancy, as the kids would say. All right, well, that's the end of the voicemails. This is getting really long tonight, so we're just gonna go quick with the socials. Links.co/Empire Radio. Links with 2 I's. That link is also in the description of whatever you're listening to right now on iTunes, Spotify, wherever. It's in the description. But it's a landing page for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, a link for the Discord. You can leave a voicemail. Did I say that? Voicemail. You can find the link to needlesslynerdy.com, which is a podcast network that we are a part of. And yes, so that's everything there. Check it out. Have fun. Follow us. Join the Discord. If you want me to bleach my hair by the end of the year,
pass the word around.
We need 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year.
Everyone in the chat right now, when our video goes live on YouTube, hit that like button.
Or just go there now and like it. And we know there's a big jump in our listenership. We're like 3 times more listeners than we normally get right now.
Go and like the video and leave. You don't even have to watch
it. We could easily get 1,000 new people like that. So just go
instantly.
So do that. Well, next week,
check out YouTube. There's more stuff on there besides the podcast. Also, go check out the live stream if you want to be involved and get your name shout out here and there, like Lucy did tonight. So
yeah. So next week it's gonna be a big week. Who knows how it's gonna play out, but I'm excited. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Anything else, Drew?
Nope. I'm excited for part 1 of part 6 next week.
Part 6, episode 1, chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
All right, cool. Well, you've been listening to another Kenobi-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.